Satir. I'm here with my partner Chris, and welcome to the conversation. So today, guys, we're going to talk about the conversation, but not the talk show. We're going to talk about how important it is for you to be able to have conversations with people and the influence you can have by having conversations. A lot of times, people don't really have genuine people who they can talk to, that they can unload with. And for me, when I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm always trying to either give perspective or gain perspective. What is your intake on having a conversation with somebody, like in the importance of it?
Dude, man, I think conversations are uplifting. One thing that a lot of people don't do is actively listen to people that they're having conversations with. So once you get to that part where you're actively listening and enjoying that conversation, then you can learn so much about from different people, no matter what age they are. So I think conversations are definitely important.
Yeah, man, that's dope. So I know, like, from just like I'm not from Colorado. Are you from here?
Oh, born and raised Park Hill.
Oh, so you that proud?
Oh yeah, Park Hill all day.
Okay, so I know from meeting Chris, man, really good guy, solid guy. But I know that you are involved with children and helping children out, a coach and so forth like that.
Oh yeah.
So when you're talking to kids and you know that they are like they're going through something, and you might know that from listening to them that they're whatever they have going on like in a household is probably valid. But at the same time, because you have lived life already, you're not saying like what you're saying is not valid, but the way they might be responding to it is not, the best way to go about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I believe that you know, I believe that kids are are our future. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know it's so bland to say, but it's real. Um, so yeah, like a lot of kids, they have a lot of stuff going on in their lives and in their households, and a lot of them are not. They don't have the best. They wasn't dealt the best deck of cards.
Right.
You know what I mean? So as a coach, or as a coach, as a brother, like I take it on myself. Like I want to give back to my community by uplifting these kids. So if they come to me with any issues, it's my job to freaking listen to them, and you know and hear what they have to say. Um, One thing is, I think a lot of kids get frustrated with is people are not listening to them. You know what I mean? They may try and adults may try and fix their problems,
Yeah.
but we're not listening so they can get all of it out. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that adults have to do when it comes to loving up these kids is actually listen to what's going on with them.
Yeah.
That way we can figure out which way we need to go to help them, to guide them to be, you know, great people in, society.
So, like, I agree with that, and I do feel like that the youth, we know that the youth is like the future. You know what I mean? Because like we're not gonna be here forever.
Oh yeah.
And so, what do you think it is though? Like when it comes to parents, is it because of maybe our lack of? Because like in the older generation, they didn't do a lot of talking. You know what I mean? A lot of times it was just like you just did what someone told you to do, and that was it. So a lot of parents and people might not understand how to properly,
Mm-hmm.
communicate. So for me personally, I'd be thinking that it's very important to read books, to invest your time and energy into how do I make myself better? How do I become a better communicator? You know what I mean? So forth. Because a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. And we always, been told that. So when it comes to you, what do you feel like that has been a really impactful for you in your life that helped you to feel like that I need to, because everybody don't have the gift that you have to be able to talk to children. I heard a lot of people uplift you a lot about how you are able to, what's the word I'm looking for, like tap in to a child and you can understand. And what you said is very important because you're saying that you take the time to actually listen to someone because like you say, a lot of people, they listen to respond and not to understand,
Oh yeah.
but you actually trying to understand a child and you're able to articulate something in a certain way that gets across to them.
Oh yeah.
So, what do you feel like that a person can do to try to help themselves to try to be? Because like right now, what you're saying is like we should be that way. But if a person is not that way, how can a person try to become better at listening and understanding to try to articulate something to their child or any child?
Man, I know, like for one, in some of these households, man, I see where, a lot of kids go wrong is like it's a lack of structure. You know
Oh,
what I
structure
mean?
in the house, foundation.
Structure in the house. So I meet a lot of kids like they're yearning for structure.
Yeah,
Um, it's weird to say like, hey, I just want somebody to care when I get home, to take
man.
care that I'm doing my homework, to
Right.
care like kids want to like I meet so many kids that just want that structure. You know what I mean? So, I think as a community,
Yeah.
that we need to find that structure and build up these households that where these kids, they have that, you know what I mean? But to get to the point to figure out what these kids needs, like like you said, like we have to listen, we have to have that conversation. Like, you have like if like you're a person that always, you know, some people like when you're talking, they're already formulating
The
their
opinion.
response,
Yeah.
like
Right.
right when you're talking. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if you're formulating your response, then you're really not actively listening to me. You know what I mean? Like you might miss a couple things.
Right.
Um, but as adults, like I think, like with the ages that these kids are growing up in, with social media and every other type of distraction that they could have,
Hmm.
like we do gotta listen to what these kids are going through, um, all the way. You know what I mean? That way we can start knocking down each barrier as we go, so we can raise them the right way.
That's wild, bro. It's like you seem very comfortable right now, like you do interviews for a living, because you just
I know, dude. I'm nervous as hell.
oh man, 'cause you just kind of flowing out with it, but it's good. I was like, dang, it just feels yeah. I like that. That's funny. But so my thing is like when you talk about structure, right, and foundation in the household. So a lot of that times it's because like when we are raised, a lot of times we raised in either single parent households or the fathers are missing,
Hmm.
and so for like I'm gonna go back to your beginning a little bit and see where maybe this could have formulated for you in your mind, your thoughts. So I'm gonna try to pick your mind a little bit.
Okay.
So, are you single?
No, I'm happily married.
Bing. So you married? You have any children?
Two kids.
Okay,
Boy and a girl.
boy and a
Nine,
girl.
nine and seven. Nine and
Uh,
seven.
okay, now I know this, y'all, but this is for y'all. And I thought he was gonna say a girl and a boy because Gigi is like this on his list. Like she has him wrapped.
Yo, yeah.
But so I'm gonna touch on that just a little bit too, um, because you hear about girls and boys as far as daughters and sons, and when it comes to a daughter, kind of softens your heart
Man.
a little bit versus a son. It's like you kind of want him to be macho, be a man. You know what I mean? But then with your daughter, you want her. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I don't have any
It's
kids.
a whole different feeling, man. I don't even know if like I can't even really explain it.
Yeah, it's just a feeling. Like
it's just like my son. You're like, oh man, I got a son.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's gonna be another me. He's a junior. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like my legacy's gonna live on and
Yeah.
blah. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you're just hype about your
boy,
boy.
I would be too.
But my daughter, man, it just brought out a whole nother. Like it brought out the like. I felt like, dude, I'm gonna be a sucker for her for the rest of my life.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly, that's how, like, for the very first time that I met her, I was like, dude, I am going to be a sucker for you for the rest of my life. So,
So to piggyback on that, because what he's saying is so true, because this dude go get his daughter something to eat, right? Say some chicken, and she likes macaroni and cheese.
Oh yeah.
If this man forgets the macaroni and cheese, she gonna ask where my macaroni and cheese at, and she wants you to do what?
Oh, she want me to get it.
Go back and go get it.
But it's not, like it's not, like I raise my kids right, so it's like she does it. Like I know, it'd be like someone messing up in the drive-through. Like I may ask for it.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't get it, like she just act like any person that doesn't get what they want in the dang drive-through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if we get home and it's like that, I'm like, oh dang, my bad, baby girl. I should have looked. But
also, I'm bringing 2 points up, cause you work hard, right, for your money.
Oh, definitely.
So you don't want nobody messing up any type of thing or damaging what you have worked hard for.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, I seen the collaboration with your wife and your daughter. That's why when y'all upload videos, people can use these things against you. I'm gonna use it against them right now. So, um, you have a game system?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a
One,
big
two.
Madden, Xbox. That's me. That's
You have a
what
PlayStation?
yeah, I got PlayStation.
Because I was wondering too. Because I was wondering, like, is he biased on these games? Because you have a man cave. He has a man cave, dope man cave, and the PS4 is in the man cave, but the Xbox is in the family room.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know if you had like a certain preference with that, but that ain't the point. The point is, you bought a headset, right? Cost some money.
Cost a couple dollars.
You know, so you can be online talking like that. You had the remote control in your hand.
Oh yeah.
You know, baby girl coming talking to you. You was like, baby, you know, I'm playing the game. They playing the game. I'll talk to you a little bit.
Hey, I'll be serious about this.
Okay, you be locked in.
Locked in.
This is how I know how this little girl has him, y'all. Because she was like, she asked you something, I don't remember what it was, and you wasn't paying attention. You was like, you know, Gigi, like,
oh, I remember what you're talking about now. She was like, she came up to me and she was like, Dad, it's like, what sound does a cat make? And I'm like, what? And I'm playing the game. I'm like, Gee, I'm playing the game.
Yeah.
Like,
chill out.
So she's like, what sound does a cat make? What sound does a dog make? And I repeated the words while, repeated the sounds while I'm playing the game. I'm like, Gee, come on. I'm like, I'm playing for money right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she was like, what sound does a whale make? And I'm like, what? And she had water in her mouth. And she just, I'm like, look at her. And she spits it at me. And I was like, I know you just didn't do that. It was funny, though.
And she spits it at him. You got the headset on. You paid money for. Got the controller in your hand. She spits the water. The wife is recording it, so she's in it. And this dude's just laughs. That's all he do is start laughing.
Hey.
I don't think if that was little Chris, it would have been the same laughter.
You know, I think I was on camera, so I couldn't act how I wanted to act. But
you seen her up there like,
you know what? You get a pass today.
Yeah.
It was funny, so you get a pass, man. That's my baby girl, though, man. I think girls are like a man's weakness. You know what I mean? I don't know how any man could really leave any of his kids, dude. That's the craziest thing to me. I don't know how. I know my dad and my mom and dad, they had me when they were babies. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, they were 16 when they had me.
Yeah.
So they did their thing and left me with grandma. So grandma raised me. You know what I mean? So luckily, she raised me with enough structure, enough teachable, and she didn't let those teachable moments pass. I believe in teachable moments when it happens.
Yeah.
When it comes to kids, she didn't let a lot of them pass. So, I had a good upbringing. She gave me everything that I needed. I didn't have everything I want, but I had everything I needed, and she kept me busy. So, that's all that stuff, man. Everything I learned from her, man, I pass it on to my kids, man. And you know what I mean. So, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's beautiful though, man. That's what I wanted to see and talk about, your family structure, because you mentioned structure earlier and how important that is.
Yeah. So
you having a wife and then you having children, you have a sense of your perspective is different, versus someone like me who don't have a wife, who don't have children. I learned from watching people like you, because I'm seeing how your household is ran, if you and your wife have a harmonious relationship, how you guys function, what's your role, what's her role, and so forth like that. But, so you commented on your dad and your mom had you young.
Oh, yeah.
And so your grandparents or just your grandmother?
Just my grandma.
Okay, so was you ever with your parents?
Briefly, bro.
Baby?
No, I was with my mom for a short period, on and off, but my dad, me and him, we never had a relationship.
So was they from here? Your parents?
No, they were from Nebraska. Yep, both of them from Nebraska. So
but you was born here?
I was born here. They did their thing in Nebraska, and then family moved here, and boom, I was born here. So
Okay. So your grandmother, was it your dad's
my
mom or
mom's mom.
your mom's mom?
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
Greatest person I probably like bored. She saved me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And back then that's when grandmothers were. Grandmothers were older back then. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, you got some younger grandmothers.
Right.
I'm not watching your kids. I'm
Yeah.
about to hit the club.
Right, right. Yeah.
But thank God for her, man, because she saved my life. Like I said, you know, I think, I feel like I was raised by like the community. You know what I mean? She gave me all the structure and everything that I need, teachable moments, didn't let them pass. So when I went into other people's homes, like my best friends, like are like family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I went into their homes, when they had both parents in the house, um, I was able to see like how black love should be. You know what I mean? The family. You know what I mean? I got to see the Cosbys. You know what I mean? What I thought the Cosbys were
from your other family members.
From my friends.
Oh,
you know
friends.
What I mean? So I go to my friend's house and I see how they're loving with their family. You know what I mean? And that was the stuff that I yearned for as a kid. Like, dang, I wish my mom and dad and stuff was around so I could have all this.
I was the same way.
You know what I mean? So like now that like I promised myself, like I will never. Let as long as I'm walking this earth, I will never let my son feel like he had to go seek something in another family.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would love up my kids to the end of the world.
Man, that's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
That's beautiful, bro.
That's why I don't understand, like, how do people, like men, how do they freaking have kids and just drop and go, dude? I do not get it. Like, that shit's crazy to me.
And
I
I
didn't mean to cuss, man. My apologies.
Oh, yeah, no. But, man, and that's how I feel, though, too. Like, especially when you are a kid yourself at one point. Like, you talking about when you went to your friend's house and you're like, man, this is what family is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
I wish that my parents was, doing the same thing y'all, because now you see how their structure is.
Yeah.
Maybe the food that's been allowed to eat in the house, the different options. Like, man, these people, man, y'all house, they have a grocery store inside their house. Like, if you want to go shopping, you ain't got to go. Here in Colorado, it's King Soopers, Safeway. You can go to Chris's them house and grocery shop. Like, they got a huge pantry.
Nah, dude, that's my wife, man. She's like, I swear she shops like it's supposed like it's about to be
like
Armageddon or something. Like,
so you know how everybody is shopping now for COVID? They've been doing this stuff for like 5 years.
She's been COVID ready for a minute. Like, I'm like, dude, what? Like, this is where all our money's going to this pantry.
Yeah.
Like, I swear, I want like the house now we have is has a bigger pantry. But the next one, I swear to God, I'm gonna buy like it's gonna be a small pantry. Like, you ain't hoarding nothing.
That's funny.
She gonna be cracking up when she see that part.
Yeah. So, it's wild though, 'cause I agree with you, man. Because I know for myself that I grew up in a single parent household, just my mom, and not having that father present is very vital because a lot of times, and I don't know how you felt, but for me, for a while before I started to seek after other men from church or uncles or my grandfather, was because I didn't have that father figure in my household. So it was like I felt less than a man because I'm raised by a woman. So I felt like that I need to learn some type of different authority, how to be as a man. So it's kind of wild that we're going into this segment because we were talking about this conversation, you know what I mean? But it's kind of spinning because of just, the dialogue in itself. You never know what comes out of a conversation.
Definitely.
But now that you say that, I just wonder, what do you feel about like that transition from a boy to a man? Because, hold on, because you have, like, it's hard sometimes when it comes to, one, being a man for yourself. Then two, being a man in this world. And then three, being a man for a woman. Because if you didn't see that structure, you go through a lot of problems. Like, I done had a lot of failed relationships. Not me not being a good guy, but trying to learn how to be this for this woman, how to properly communicate. I was watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta or something. I seen Candy Burrs was telling her husband about picking your battles. You know what I mean? Like, I know nothing about that. You know what I mean? So I'm learning from TV shows. That's why I always say about reading, watching movies, TV shows. I always gain something from it. So for you, what was your feeling when it came to your transition from a boy to a man?
Man, it was a tough transition. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I seen the other families and how they operated,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like it's not like you get all those lessons. Like, you know, my boys, they were getting those lessons
So they live
like
in
every
the
day.
house,
You know
right?
what I mean? But me, I was getting sprinkles of those lessons. So
Right.
when it came to being a man, you know, of course, Grams can't teach me how to be a man.
Right.
So I really was just learning on the go. You know what I mean? Um, you know, you graduate from high school, you get a job. You know, you go to college, you go to school, you get a job.
Yeah.
So you do that type of stuff like that. But you know, like, well, I think when you have both parents in the house, you know, and even some single parents, you know, like my gram, she was old school, so she didn't like financial wise, like
Yeah.
she didn't teach
Teach
me
you, yeah.
teach me that stuff. So she didn't teach me about credit. She didn't teach me like she told me to save, but she didn't teach me how to save. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of that stuff I had to learn on the go. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really until I met my wife that, you know, she made it all make sense for me. So
Right.
when I met my wife, you know, like I swear, like my credit score was like I didn't even care about credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't care about really paying a bill on time. Like I had a couple of dollars, you know, able to take her out and go do nice things. But as far as you know, being responsible,
Yeah.
like that just wasn't me yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So once I got with her, she was, you know, she was doing her thing for a while. Like she was already, you know, already had her own house, had her cars, had, you know, she was already established. You know what I mean? So once, you know, getting with her, like I had to step my game up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was like, what she need me for? It's like she already got all that stuff.
Right.
But you know, but that's when, you know, like I realized, you know, that she was the one. Is like, you know, the stuff that I wasn't good at,
Yeah.
like she was good at.
Man.
And the stuff, you know, that I was good at, she wasn't. So we kind of complimented each other.
Yeah.
And my credit, like, I give it all up to her because she helped me build it. She taught me how to save. She taught me how to do all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like you never know. Like I had to, in having a conversation with her. You know what I mean? Like I had to listen. I had to, you know, implement the stuff that she did to get to where she was. And eventually, you know, I got there. And now, you know, we're enjoying the fruits of all that hard work that we put in together. So
that's kind of wild though, man. Because like, you know, a lot of times I have this conversation. It's different having a conversation when you're talking to yourself or just talking to, you know, the people. Because this kind of keeps spinning because when you say certain things, it hits me in a different way, you know, because how I'm listening. And it's like the value that you had to have because when you seen this woman, your wife, you could have chose somebody else based off of anything else. You know, looks, physique, you know, fun girl. Especially, how old were you when you met your wife?
Dude, when did we meet? Hold on, man, you put me on the spot now.
Oh man, my bad.
No, we started really rocking when we were around 26, 27 ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 28 ish, something
Yeah,
like that. Somewhere around there.
So my point is that because it could be easy for you to just to pick people for the wrong reasons, and what you pointing out is basically like you picking this woman based off of the caliber of woman that she was, like the value that she held, because this person can make you better. So this goes into again to having a conversation, but knowing that you have to pick people that's going to benefit your life, because you can end up with the wrong person. Then you have a bad mother for your children. You have a bad relationship. Then you end up in the same situation that you was in growing up, that split households, no structure. Then it ties back into talking about you've been a coach for the kids and they looking for structure. And then how you going to give structure a lot of times, because if you having like a fight with your baby mom or something like that, and she brought another dude into the household, and then this dude has some type of overseeing over your children, and it can get rocky.
Right there, boy. I'm glad I ain't got to go through nothing like that.
Man, so that's what I'm saying, bro.
Like, yeah, no, it was just how everything worked between me and my wife, man. I think God just wanted it to happen. You know what I mean? Like everything, all the stars aligned and everything just worked. You know, our history, like we were friends first. You know what I mean? And we just traveled together, did a whole lot of stuff together before we even, got to the point to where we could be together. Um, so I think all that type of stuff helped. And, once we got together, and then it was like, okay, now, what do we do now? Like, we gotta build for the future. You know what I mean? So, once we started building, and we were able to accomplish a lot. Like, I'm proud of like where we came from, because both of us have similar upbringings. Um, so I'm proud
Oh,
of
so
where
that's a
we,
connection right
yeah,
there.
you know what I mean. So like a lot of stuff that she went through and I went through, like we can relate. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, so I think that makes it to where like we even go harder for our kids because we know like what we lacked, what we yearned for when we were young.
Right.
So like our kids, I may overdo it sometimes. She may overdo it sometimes. I spoil the hell out of my kids,
Yeah.
but they're good kids.
Right. Right.
So I mean, dude, this just been a blessing. You know what I mean? I can't complain.
That's dope, man. Yeah, man. So this is the whole point of this, of us having this conversation. Then, like, I'm listening to Chris talk, and he's just talking about, for me, what I'm taking is that even through everything we're talking about, even though we're not saying the word conversation, when you guys were able to relate to similar upbringings and know what you didn't want, how did you know that? You had to be open and vulnerable with each other, with your heart and your mind, and have that conversation. When it comes to y'all talking about y'all's future or where y'all want to be, making a plan to get there. Again, it's a conversation. So this is based like a conversation within a relationship. But we done touched on you having conversation with kids and what they have going on in their household, and you realize and notice that a lot of kids are struggling because they lack the structure and the foundation. You know what I mean? To actually have parents that's not only just present as far as being there, but actually listening and knowing how to help their children. Because it's a difference between being a parent to where you provide for the household financially, you provide the food, the clothes, but yeah, you're not actually having conversation with your children.
That's not enough these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough just to buy. There's too much stuff out there for them to learn from. You know what I mean? I think these days, like one of my boys said, like he has older girls, and he was like, man, like it's like me and my girls, like we're friends. Like yeah, I'm their dad, but we're friends.
Oh
So
wow.
you know what I mean? I keep that line of communication open, so when they do have issues, like they're not super scared to come to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the hammer guy, and I'm like, that makes sense. Like if you're a hammer all the time,
Right.
then eventually, when they really have an issue, then they may be scared to come to you because they feel like they're gonna get that hammer.
Yeah.
But if you're that dad friend,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and have conversations with them, then they may not, you know, be so scared to come to you when they have problems.
See, I always say that too. That if a person can receive the messenger, they're more likely to receive the message.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So if your kids feel comfortable that, pops, dad, or mom might not like this, but I know that they're gonna give me solid advice. They're gonna maybe correct me with love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But they actually care about me because you didn't build up that type of rapport and relationship with them. So one more thing before we get out of here is how important it is for you to be able to like how you interact with your daughter when it comes to also with your daughter and your wife. So it's gonna be like a two type question because when it comes to the man, down the road, you want your daughter to have that example of how a man should speak to her, how he should treat her, you know what I mean, what he should stand on, the principles and the morals. Do you think that's very vital on how you handle your wife to show your daughter how that how a man should be and how your wife is handling you is also showing your daughter from the woman's perspective, then the man's perspective, and then also with that it's the same thing for your son, showing your son how he should be with his wife, you know what I mean, and how your wife is showing your son how a woman should be towards him, the principles and morals that you should have for that structure. And then also, do you think it might be a lot, but do you think that it's important too to teach your son how he should interact with his sister?
Oh yeah. I mean, my son and daughter, man, they at times they get along, and at times they're like at each other's throats. But it's all in love, and they're kids. But I do believe that kids will once they get older, like they may react to what they see. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
You know, if they see dad beating up mom, then eventually maybe that kid might grow up to think it's okay for a man to put his hands on a woman. You know what I mean? Me, like I ain't with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we should not be putting hands on females.
Yeah.
Period. And females shouldn't put their hands on a man. Like we should be able to have a conversation.
Right. It goes both ways.
And really, one thing I love about my relationship with my wife is like yeah, we get to those points where we have disagreements. You know what I mean? But in the end, like we're okay with agreeing to disagree. You know, so and that's okay. Like we don't have to. It might end up in a "I told you so" later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like sometimes we can have arguments and we can go to bed like okay, but then the next day we're like, you know what, it is what it is. Let's just move on. But you know, I I try to treat my wife exactly how I want my daughter to be treated when she leaves the house when she's like 50 and gets married. And stuff
Whoa! When
like
she's 50, you ain't finna slide that in there. When she's 50.
But yeah, man, I think like I'm supposed to teach them how to love. You know what I mean?
Right.
And me and my wife, we got to teach our kids how to love and how to love each other, so that way they're not yearning for they're not reaching for anything outside
and so those compliments and
like
bigging them up, like it's just edification, affirmation. Because like you said, you don't want them reaching somewhere else for something that they should be getting in the household.
Yeah, definitely. So like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm big on we're big on respect. Like I don't think parents should be correcting each other in front of kids.
Man,
like we try.
I just spoke on that.
We try and do that. Sometimes we're like, but we wait. You know what I mean? So, but we're still learning. Like we don't. We're gonna miss the mark some days, and that's okay. But it's all about working together to make sure that we put out the best two little kids that that we can. You know what I mean?
That's important.
So,
a lot of people don't have that mindset, bro. They don't be thinking about the product because you putting your kids out. Because like you talked about your grandmother, how much, and she did a great job with you. Everybody be able to see. Yeah, anybody who knows you. But it's certain things that you guys will be able to do better as far as because you're more knowledgeable of how important something may be, and because it's two. It's a lot for your grandma just by herself versus having that type of help. Some assistance and. It's wild because, like you say about money, they teach you about money, they teach you about certain things, and I don't know where where Jen got it from. You know what I mean? When it came to her, and some people just have it.
Figured it out before.
Yeah, right. Some people just have it. So it's good that that you have that person that can balance you out. And when y'all having disagreements, you say you agree to disagree. That goes back to having the conversation. Yeah. Like, okay, this is how you feel. This is how I feel. It shouldn't be a big deal where we having a real yelling like I have to be right, but like you said, then it might come to where that she was right or she know you was right, and you're like, I told you.
Times like I'll be like I made the call and then she'll be like, I told you. Shut your butt up.
Yeah.
But you just take it on the head, man, and just don't take it personal. Like in the end, like we're in it together.
Yeah.
So
teamwork.
As long as I think if you're making decisions in good faith and some may come out bad. Like I've made some horrible decisions as far as money, and she had my back, and
wow,
and gave me "I told you so's" later. But we just live and learn.
Yeah. Well, man, it's people like you, people like your family that we can see like being the example to the world. Even though it might not even be your thing, you just being you. Your wife is just being who she is, Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, even if you're not someone who's in the spotlight, you have family and friends that's around you. It's always good to have people that's in your life that you can learn from, you can grow from, because people will watch you, even though they might not say something about it. They see what you guys are doing, and how impactful it is, and the fact that a lot of couples don't always make it, and they don't always have the love in them to be able to keep on fighting through the ups and the downs. You guys are doing that, so just from me to you, just want to just say like the gratitude of me being around you guys since I met you guys, that y'all been a good example I love to see that, especially for the men, because I'm not hard on us guys, but I know that in the community, there's more women that's been there for their children in the household versus the man. For whatever reason it may be, like you said earlier, you don't understand how a man could be basically a deadbeat, not be there for his child. You know what I mean? So it's like I really like that because I feel like that even though it's a union, you and your wife have to move as a unit together, but the man really has to be like that foundation, that strength, you know what I mean? Because it takes a lot for a man who wasn't raised by a man, who wasn't raised with that ideology of the transition from a boy to a man, to understand how important it is for him to be there, and the influence it's going to have on little girls who might have daddy issues, sons who don't know how to treat women, don't know how to be a man for himself, like you said. And it's powerful that you said that about Jen, his wife, because you were saying that she taught you something and you was receptive to it, to be like, you know what, look what you have, look what you accomplished. I ain't got that.
I ain't got
You
it.
know what I mean? And I'm able to learn from you and grow. So that's beautiful. So man, I want to appreciate you for coming on to the show.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, man, having this conversation. Anyway, y'all, man, that's been both of our times. It's one love from me to you. Remember, it's progress, not perfection. Whatever you're doing, you rest in the end, not the middle. My name is Deter. This is my partner, Chris, and welcome to The Conversation.
The Conversation.